Okay, in today's video, I'm gonna do a little story time. I'm gonna tell you a recent story and then we're gonna talk about gratitude and what I now feel like I believe it actually means. Okay, so stay with me. If you've been following along on my little saga, you know that a couple of weeks ago I had to leave my house and pack it up very quickly, put things in storage because there was a landslide underneath my home. Okay, so this is a continuation of that story. Okay, so today's Monday. I just got back. I had to go meet a couple people from the construction company at 9 a.m. at the house. Okay, the idea was they were going to come in and take some measurements. They have this like tool that takes measurements of the walls so that if there's any additional like shifting or movement, they can detect that. Okay. So I go and I meet them, and it's like these two people, and they're so nice. They're like, "We're so sorry this has happened. Again, like, here's my business card if you need anything at all." They're like, "We're just gonna get in and get out. We'll be like less than an hour." I'm like, "Okay, great." So I didn't really have a plan. I didn't really know what I was going to do. There was like a pile of stuff in the garage that I've been meaning to take to Goodwill. And so I was like, okay, at the very least, I can start loading that stuff into my minivan. I can get that process going. But that was it. Like, that was basically all I had planned. Okay. So I'm kind of standing in my garage this morning, and there's all these like odds and ends. They're all just basically micro decisions that I did not get a chance to make. Okay. So it's things like there's like a half deflated basketball. I'm like, okay, I want to keep this. It's a good basketball. I will have to find a pump. I will have to find a basketball hoop, but I'm going to keep this. Okay. So then I found kind of like this large bin where I was like, okay, this can be like the sports bin. Like any random sports equipment I find are going to go in this bin. So I put the basketball in there. I actually found like 2 skateboards. I was like, great, skateboards go in there. So it's starting slowly but surely to come together. And so here's kind of where the story begins, right? Which is that in my rational mind, I knew that like I'm never living here again. Like, we've moved out. Okay? What's going to happen to the house remains to be seen, but I know intellectually and in my heart that like my head is not resting on a pillow in that house ever again. Okay? So I logically shouldn't care. I shouldn't care about the fact that there is like all of this dust and dead bugs and grass all over my garage floor, right? I shouldn't care about the fact that people have been coming in and out of the house, contractors, builders, assessors, whoever, been tracking dirt into the house. There's literally like workman boot mud prints on my beautiful cream carpet, right? Like, I shouldn't care. It shouldn't matter to me. Like, this is not going to be my house. I'm not going to live here. And yet, it's almost like something took over. I don't know. I just started. First, it was like the tidying up. It was like big things like, okay, put the basketball in this thing, or like, move the skateboards, like things that were very obvious to me. But then I don't know why, I just started sweeping the garage, and I knew this was like irrational. And I knew that it was like, girl, why are you sweeping? Like, there's nothing in this house. This is barely even your house anymore. Like, what are you doing? But there was just, the best way I can describe it is like, I honestly, guys, I felt a sense, it was like duty. I felt a duty to this house. Okay. So I'm like sweeping, and I'm literally on my hands and knees. I have this little dustpan, and I'm getting all the cobwebs from out of the garage, and I'm sweeping them into a thing. And it's so funny because there's like a side door, and the side door used to open up onto dirt, but the dirt has dropped so much. Now it's like a 15-foot cliff. So I've like opened it up, and I like laughed to myself because I was like, oh my God, I don't even need to, I'll just like open this door and like sweep it out onto the cliff. Like, this is so, cleaning this is so easy because now there's just a hole where like it can all just fall down, right? But I'm there, and I'm like, I'm cleaning. And you could argue like, oh, that's just like your nervous energy. But I really think that it was something deeper than that. I really feel like it was like my care and my affection for this house. So the two people who were there, like measuring everything, right? They like see me doing this, and I swear they're looking at me like this homeowner has lost her fucking mind. I'm sure of it. Cause they start making like little like cute comments. They're like, oh, like are you hope you're keeping track of your times. You could like charge whoever back for this, or like wow, you sure are taking care of this house, and I just sort of like looked at them and I was like, you know what, like truly. And I stood there because when I was having this conversation, I was in my office. You guys know the office where I used to record everything. I was in my office and there were these big mud footprints, like it was someone's workman's boots. Literally, you could see them have gone in a circle in this room. And I didn't get mad, and the only thing I felt was like, it's like if you have like a little bunny and then they like fall into the mud and then you're like, oh, let's get you cleaned up. Like that's how I felt. So I went and I found a little dish rag. I found some soap. They've turned off the gas, so there's no heat, so I can't get hot water, but it's fine. I used cold water and I just like gently scrubbed. The dirt came off like pretty easily, but I'm there like on my hands and I'm scrubbing the dirt off and I'm cleaning it and then I'm vacuuming it and like I'm just bringing it back to new. And I swear the dude was like, oh man, like why are you cleaning that? Like, you should be able to, talk to the builder and get them to hire someone to come. And I was just like, you know what? And I stood up and I looked at him and I was like, obviously he's not going to know who I am or like my history or anything. But I was just like, you know what? Like I honestly, I owe a lot to this room. I was like, I started my business here. I'm like getting emotional. I don't know if I'm just truly losing my mind now. This is the moment where I'm like off the deep end, but I literally was just like, you know what? I owe so much to this room and this hallway. Like this is where I started my business. This is where it all began, and had it not been for this space, like, I don't know that this would have like, there was magic was created here. And, for now, the house is still mine. I don't live here. It's uninhabitable, etc. But I turned to him and I was like, you know what? The house deserves better. The house deserves better. And I was like, that's why I'm cleaning it, because I'm like, it took such good care of me up until the last day. I'm not going to let her get dirty. I'm not going to let her get stepped on. Do you know what I'm saying? I was like, she deserves better. She does not deserve to have some random people's muddy boots on her. Like, she didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? And I don't know that he fully understood what I was trying to say, but I just kept cleaning. And then I got all the muddy boot prints off, and I just feel like I've always been a person where I try to leave a space better than when I found it, right? And like when we sold our house in Colorado, I remember like I literally, the last thing I packed was the vacuum, because I was like vacuuming like beautiful lines and I was like Windexing everything, and I had like the keys and I had the garage door opener because we were obviously selling it to the new homeowner. And, I basically left it in this like beautiful state, and there's no way to quantify that. There's no way to monetize. This is like nothing to do with anything that we can measure. But I just felt good. I felt good leaving it in that state. It was like a sign of respect, okay? So as I was like doing all of this, and I remembered, I was like, yeah, this is just how I do it. You know what I mean? Like even when I was like in my 20s and like living in New York City, and I would like rent apartments or whatever, I always just like took such pride in leaving something more beautiful than when I found it, And like I had brought my kids there, and because I do think it's important for them to like see as well and like process what's happening. And they how like kids have like those big chalks, and so my daughter had like a big pink chalk, and I think there'd been like chalk marks and stuff She's like just bored. She's like, there's nothing in this house, can we go? But I basically was then like cleaning up like all the little remnants. They were just like little pink chalk marks, and I was just like cleaning that up. And as I was doing it, I just really got this, the idea of like gratitude came to me, because I was like, this is actually what gratitude is. See, I was taught that gratitude is like something that you journal about. Spend 10 minutes in the morning thinking about what you're grateful for. And I always was just like, fuck gratitude, man. I just was like, I didn't get it. And I could never be grateful for things because I don't know. It's something about my personality. I was just like, oh, this is so painful to like express gratitude. It just felt so cheesy and so forced, And in the end, like whenever I would have to journal about gratitude, I would end up journaling about people. I would be like, I am grateful for this person and their kindness. I am grateful for like my relationship with this person, right? But this like ethereal idea of like a monk like gratitude, I just like could never. I just was like, I don't understand that. I don't know. Maybe I have work to do. But basically, as I was like cleaning up the pink chalk, I was like, gratitude. This is what gratitude is. Basically, I felt truly grateful to this house for what it had done for me. Like, it had taken care of me. It had provided shelter. It had provided safety. It had provided a place for my family to grow. It had provided so much. It was the place. The importance of place. It was the place where I went from someone who wasn't sure about my voice and do I believe in myself to someone who now has, built something for myself and has totally like reclaimed my own sense of identity. Like that whole transformation happened in that house. And gratitude was saying, I am so thankful for the way that you showed up for me. And now I am simply repaying you in any way I know how. And so that's what all this like random cleaning was. It was me trying to show through an action my reverence or thankfulness for what this house had provided for me. Was this the ending that I wanted? Of course not. It's like so dramatic, you know what I mean? But it's not how I wanted it to end, but it's also like, okay, fine. If it has to end, then we all, even in these small moments, have a little bit of control, right? I could have just left the house. I'm like, literally, who cares? No one's going to see it. No one's going to know. But I wanted to show energetically, because I do believe in karma. I was like, energetically, I just want to show how thankful I am, how I don't take it for granted. And if it means I'm just scrubbing out this little scuff, because I also think that it's like it's like the message that you're sending to the world, because then the next person who comes into this house, whether it be a contractor or the builder or an assessor or whoever, I want them to come into a house that feels loved. Maybe that would change their attitude, right? So like imagine an assessor comes in and looks at a house and it's all messy and it's all beat up and there's dirt everywhere and there's muddy footprints. Then, it's like when you go into a public bathroom and it's like gross, and then it kind of makes you less, like it kind of gives you permission almost to like also be gross. It's the same thing where it's like, if I set the tone that, okay, I'm not here to provide the voiceover, but if I set the tone that this house was loved till its very last day, then, and I'm telling you, when I started cleaning, when I really was just like in it, and whatever, the people were doing all the measurements, they took off their shoes. They were like, oh shit. Like that's the change that I want to elicit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that little action of how the house is presented when you first walk in. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be there to see every single random person that comes into the house. So what is the care that I can give? What is the message that I can send? Okay, I know this is so niche. This is so niche. This story is so random, but I'm hoping, like, it really touched me. I really was like, damn, Mandy, like you you really, this is how you love. And I hope that maybe you could take something from it, even if it's just your definition of gratitude, right? Like now I feel like gratitude is action and gratitude is reciprocity. It's like a repayment of how things or people showed up for you and just loving it back. What if gratitude is just loving something back? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I've got my setup. I'm loving, listen, lemonade out of lemons, right? Like I am loving this setup. Like I'm loving this setup. I'm experimenting with a new way of filming, right? I'm like in the middle of this room with a microphone that's all like hooked up to this table. And then the camera is just on a tripod. Like maybe my energy was ready to be shifted and ready to be changed and upgraded, you know? Lemonade out of lemons. Okay, guys, I love you so much. I'm excited to post. I'm excited to continue posting. I'm excited to process this and also weave it into other ideas and messages that are not about a house falling down a hill. Like I'm ready to not be making this my entire narrative, right? Like we are more than our circumstances. So I love you. I will see you soon. And as always, I will continue making these videos. Okay. Love you. Bye.